welcome to Talkoffame podcast. And today I'm introducing you to Annika Wooton. Annika is recognized nationally for her speed painting talent and has rapidly become a sought-after artist in live event entertainment. Specializing in creating vibrant paintings in real time, Wooton's work spans brand activations, conferences, NBA and WNBA, halftime shows, college events, and more worldwide. Wooten first gained a public attention as Miss Kansas in 2019 and 2020, where her unique talent in speed painting, including a notable 90-second portrait of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, distinguishing her during her tenure. The achievement contributed to her top 15 placement at the 2020 Miss America competition and has earned her a non-finalist talent award. Currently affiliated with Prime's talent agency, Woon has expanded her professional footprint. Her live performance captivated audiences across various platforms from sports arenas to corporate events, showcasing her ability to blend artistry with entertainment seamlessly. Aside from her art, she engages in motivational speaking and serves as a consultant and mentor with Crown the Nation. In partnership with Kua Neva, she provides individually tailored coaching plans guiding young women through their pageant journeys. Her initiative Beyond the Crown focuses on coaching pageant competitors towards discovering their purpose and defining success on their own terms. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm literally super excited to chat with you and have you on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
To kick this off, I know when people hear speed painting, they're like, okay, I know what painting is, but I don't know what speed painting is. But what exactly is speed painting?
Speed painting really is almost exactly what it sounds like. So it's painting really fast. I paint anywhere from 90 seconds to an hour. And the speed part is that traditionally paintings are completed over the course of days, weeks, sometimes even years.
Mhm.
And my paintings happen start to finish right in front of your eyes.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I know you did like you completed a Taylor Swift painting in 6 months, 6 minutes, right?
Yes, yeah.
Which I could never do. It'll probably take me weeks to do that. So I literally applaud you for that. But how did you complete a Taylor Swift portrait in 6 minutes? That's something I could never do for my life, depending on it.
Yeah, that's the nature of what I do. It's a lot of practice, a lot of planning. I've been speed painting for 12 years now. So every painting leading up to that moment is in preparation to do, the next big painting. And so that last one was Taylor Swift. I did it in Chicago at an NCAA women's basketball game. And yeah, they had a whole like reputation theme night. So it was really cool to paint literally the most famous woman in the world right now. No pressure to get her face right, but it went really well.
Yeah, I had once I saw Taylor Swift's name, I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. Because I know there's tons of Taylor Swift fans out there that are obsessed with her and love what she's doing. She's the biggest artist in the world with that right now with her and Travis Kelce. Of course, once I saw the painting, I'm like, okay, Taylor Swift fans that listen to this podcast or your followers would absolutely love this question. But like when you did this painting, like did you prepare to do this before? Like, did you kind of paint ahead of time to prepare, but or you just kind of do it on the spot?
Oh yeah, every painting I do, I know what I'm walking into. This one I practiced a lot in my home studio just to make sure that I was getting it right and I was getting some of her features and characteristics. I don't always have quite as much of a lead up time for some of my paintings, but I was really thankful to have some extra time knowing that this was coming up on the docket to really get this one right.
Like, how long did it take you to prepare? Because I know, like, doing a painting like an actual person like Taylor Swift, I'm sure it could take a while.
Yeah, I think I started really practicing this a couple of weeks beforehand. But there's a big preparation process that goes into it, selecting the image, the kind of style that I'm doing and the time frame that I have, and in this case, making sure that it fit that reputation theme.
That seems so interesting. You will definitely have to teach me one of these days how to do it because I am not that artistic person ever. I'm literally the less type of very extreme artistic person. So, guys, definitely I applaud you for being at least you're more artistic than I ever was. But how, like, were you always artistic, or you kind of as life grew on, you kind of realized that?
Yeah, I've always been an artist ever since I could hold a crayon. I used to joke that that's the only thing that I'm good at, but I'm good at other things. That's just really where my soul speaks to the arts, and it's manifested in this wonderful way with a career in speed painting.
When was the moment you realized speed painting was a thing? Like, did you like see other people do it, or 'cause I like once I saw your bio, I never knew speed painting was a thing until I was researching and what you were doing. I was like, oh my God, that's a thing. Like, oh my gosh.
When I was in high school, one of my mentors in the theater uh, said, "Have you ever thought about painting live on stage?" And I said, "Sounds like fun." So the first time that I painted live was in front of my entire high school. I had no practice. And so I did a pretty good painting in about 8 minutes for my first try with no practice. And then when I stepped back into the pageant world and needed a talent, that has to be done in 90 seconds, no matter what you do. So I thought, if I can do it in 8 minutes with no practice, surely I can do it in 90 seconds with a lot of practice.
Ooh, definitely. I'm sure that was a bit challenging for you to like, do it by 6 minute difference. I'm sure it was.
Yes.
But, like, as time went on, you kinda had to do it in record time. Like, how did you kinda transition from, this regular painting on your own time to record time paintings? What in front of a live crowd?
It comes down to trial and error. There's really not very many speed painters in the entire world. So there's not a blueprint to go off of. We're all kind of figuring out what works for us, finding tools that can make you go faster, simplifying the painting. What can you put on the canvas that still conveys a final image at the end when you present it to your audience? And so um, there's a lot of paintings that I've done that don't look good. And there's a lot of paintings that no one will ever see because those practice runs happen on paper or on chalkboards or in ways that don't end up making it to a stage or recording or social media. So
Mhm.
there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that builds up to that final moment when you're painting live that nobody really gets to see that part of it, but knowing that each one of us who paints live across the world has our own method that goes into it.
For sure. I know, like a lot of painters out there, or any artistic people out there. I'm sure everyone has dealt with many things that they didn't like. I literally love drawing, or just try to write something, and I can't tell you how many times I absolutely hated something I drew, or just drew in the lines and just went out of the lines. But it's like as that's a part of an artist is that like you mess up as many times as you get things perfect.
Yep, exactly.
But of course you do so many events and you did the NBA and WNBA halftime shows and so many things. But how can people book you for their events, whether they're having a parties, award things? Like how can people book you for these type of things?
I have a couple different forms on my website. So it's my name, AnnikaWooton.com. And there are forms for booking, there are forms for a custom commission. If you don't want me to come paint live, but you still want one of my paintings, you can request a commission painting. And everything is housed on my website. Or if you can't find that, just find me on social media and shoot me a message.
Ooh, awesome. Make sure to go check it out, guys. You heard from me. But how have people will reacted to your speed art when you did it in front of a live audience? Like did you get mixed emotions, or how have people reacted?
I don't think there's been mixed emotions. Typically, the emotion is just awe. I do a lot of my paintings, the painting starts upside down. And so there's a reveal where I flip it right side up at the end. And so that reveal typically gets a pretty good reaction from the crowd and just amazement. I mean, the question is always, how do you do that? And the answer is hard work. There's a lot of work that goes into this, a lot of practice, a lot of preparation. And that's just what I like to remind people is that I didn't wake up one day and all of a sudden know how to paint in 90 seconds. Michael Jordan, Taylor Swift, like all of the greats have a lot of work and years of preparation, practice work that goes into what you see on stages or courts across the nation.
And like, of course, not everyone is perfect at what they do. I know it might seem like, oh my God, everyone's perfection. Like they literally did it in one day. But I know with people like Michael Jordan or Taylor Swift, they literally took so many practices and things to be where they are. Like when Tara was young, like she started out in a small town, concerts, not a lot, like 15 fans, and now she plays sold out arenas to like thousands to millions of people. So it's like it's a matter of at least trying because not everyone's perfect at what they do. Like, of course, there's a lot of amazing people out there that are doing great at what they do, but it's no one's actually perfect. Even you are pretty good at what you do, there's always time to learn.
Yeah.
But like how did you kind of handle losing year after year to come Miss Kansas? Of course, you were in pageants for a couple of years and you lost about 6 years in a row, I think, to Miss Kansas, right?
I did. I competed 7 years to become Miss Kansas. I won on my seventh try. And each of those years leading up, I mean, technically you can say since I didn't win, I lost. That's a pretty brutal way to put it.
Yeah.
I look back on that time and I think had I won on my first year, that would have been a completely different version of who I became throughout the program. And I think that's one of the most amazing things about the Miss America organization or Miss America opportunity is we have so many opportunities to exercise what it means to be an independent woman in personal growth, professional growth, exploring who we are and who we want to become. So each of those years that I didn't win Miss Kansas set me up to be exactly who I needed to be once I did step into that role. And I think when you're in it, it definitely feels like a gut punch and like a loss. But looking back, I think it was one of my greatest blessings to serve the state in the way that I did.
Yeah, especially during COVID times when you were serving 2019 into 2020. Of course, 2020 is when the pandemic hit and it changed a lot of things when like pageant world is set up and how we live life. I know when I'm losing things for 7 or 8 times, I'm just like, I'm just gonna give up by now. Like this is pointless. But did you kind of have that mindset where you're just like, I'm keep losing year after year? Like, why is the point of trying after so many times of losing?
There were definitely moments when I didn't want to come back. But I had really incredible mentors and people in my corner who reminded me why I started in the first place. And I also think there was a sense of FOMO because there is really only one part of your life that you can chase after the dream of becoming Miss America. And so I thought, if I take myself out of the game, then I'm only doing myself a disservice. What if year 5 was the year that I would win and I just simply didn't show up? So I figured I'm already doing it. I've already got all this stuff. Like, why not push myself a little bit harder and put myself back in that space one more time? And so that was a huge motivator along with the opportunities and the personal growth and the benefits that I gained from being a part of the program.
And that's honestly the most important things. I know when I do something that I lose so many times, I know I'm just like, okay, I'm done. This is over with. Like, I had an experience. I'm not going to win at this point. But I love that you just had that purpose and not giving up after so many loses and trying to become Miss Kansas. And of course, I always had that mindset where I'm like, if I don't win this time, there's always next year. I can always try to go again next year. Even though sometimes some people are like, okay, I didn't win this year. It's not we're going to try to do. Like, why do? But that's not always the case. Like maybe some people have been doing that for years and they finally had the chance to win. It's always you never know what process people go through to become what they were winning or what they entail to become. So it's
Mhm,
always, a different possibility of actually having that mindset to really pursue what you're trying to pursue.
mhm.
But before we wrap up, like what are some ways you help your clients to discover their purpose in the pageant world?
Yeah, we've talked about so many different buckets of my career tonight. So I have a career as a speed painter. I have a past career as a pageant queen. And now I am a pageant coach. You mentioned at the beginning, I work with Crown the Nation to coach women across the nation, across the country, toward their goals within pageantry. And we work with really anybody who's looking to develop themselves and better themselves in pageants. And so it's individualized, tailored coaching. We set goals together at the beginning of our sessions and the season for pageant competition. And it, like I said, it looks different for every girl, but ultimately at the end of the day, I'm coming from a place of having been there, having placed top 10, not placed at all, first runner-up, third runner-up, winning, placing at Miss America, serving during COVID. I truly do have such a wealth of experience to pull from and provide that context and that guidance. But at the end of the day, the woman that I'm working with is the person who's on stage. So she can take all of that feedback, all of that guidance, and ultimately choose how she moves forward. So I'm really here to work with Crown the Nation and empower our girls to be the best versions of themselves with that knowledge and experience and expertise of being in this realm for, at this point, a couple decades.
Yeah, I wish I had something like that when I started out doing this because, of course, having a mentor or a coach is such a big thing for a lot of people, whether it's in pageantry or acting or whatever it is. I know when having a coach is so much easier than just going online watching videos to learn what you're trying to do. It's honestly learning from someone face to face or through Zoom. Like it's honestly much easier to have someone and talk to someone that has experience rather than just go leading into a YouTube video and doing research and losing so many times and not actually having someone to go for questions, which honestly I wish I had when I started out. And like what made you kind of want to start coaching after? Because I know with coaching it takes a lot of time, dedication. Yeah, I know it helps so many people, but what kind of got you to that journey of life after all that things you were doing?
The person who helped me become the Miss Kansas that I was, his name's Juven Nava, and he is one of my dearest friends. He was also my local director throughout my time competing a few times, but ultimately when I won Miss Kansas, he was my local director. And we just developed such a strong bond that we knew that once I was finished being Miss Kansas, we would launch a coaching business together with his experience as a local director and state leader and my experience as a competitor. And we've both judged before. So we thought we had a pretty good balance of perspective to come together and start this business. So I wanted to stay involved in the pageant world and make my expertise and my experience available to anybody who wanted to work with us. And so we've gotten to work with women in so many different states across the country in just a short number of years. We've had clients at Miss America, Miss USA, Miss America's Teen, and state and local pageants across the country. So it's been really neat to connect with young women in this way and offer some mentorship from this side of the sparkly crown.
That's awesome. I love it. But that is such a great way to wrap up this episode. I hope everyone took as much information as possible. If you're interested in pageants, I know this episode is really great for you if you want to get into pageants. But thank you so much for joining us today. I loved having you on. I love what you're doing. I literally like you have so much talent in painting than I ever could ever in my life. Even if I actually had that much time to actually do it, I don't think I would have that much confidence. But thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to chat. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.